Good evening, everyone. So, we are about to start our digital storytelling workshop Friday session. Well, according to the request of some of our participants, we are starting a little bit late this month. So, instead of usual time, 7 p.m. Tashkent, we will be starting our digital storytelling workshops at 8 o'clock in the evening, as most of our participants are fasting during the month of Ramadan, and we will give them some time to have their evening meals, and then right after that, they can join us. So, as most of our participants are here, we can now get started. Today, we will be summarizing the main points we made throughout this month, and we will be finishing up our digital storytelling workshop on the topic of children's stories. So last time I gave you some tools to use, and some of you have shared with me your simple stories that you have created using Night Zookeeper, and most of you found this platform fascinating. I was really happy to hear that, and I highly recommend you to try this platform with your students in the classroom, and you will see that it will create a digital collaboration among your students, which will enhance their digital skills as well as storytelling skills. So today we are going to summarize the main points we made throughout the month, and we will be taking a look at the digital storytelling as a whole one more time. In the beginning of our workshop, I would like to share with you the saying of Daniel Pink, published in A Whole New Mind. And there is a very impressive saying about digital storytelling. As the author says, we are our stories. We compress years of experience, thought, and emotion into a few compact narratives that we convey to others and tell to ourselves. So, what makes this saying impressive is the author makes us makes us stories. So it means that stories are what we are. So these are not only part of our lives, but these are our whole lives. So stories are some moments from our lives, moments that we lived, moments that we thought, experienced something new, and moments that we have emotionally uh, passed through. That's why storytelling is really important because it's more alive than any tools that education can ever have. Now, what is digital storytelling? We have been discussing it since the beginning of our workshop. Summarizing all the main points made, digital storytelling is the modern expression of the ancient art of storytelling. Digital stories derive their power through weaving images, music, video, voice, and all together, using them collectively, thereby giving deep dimension and vivid color to characters, situations, and insights. As Digital Storytelling Institute defines digital storytelling. So we have been discussing that throughout the ancient times, as people started living in the caves, they started storytelling. So probably storytelling is as old as the history of humankind. The first stories depicted on the cave walls are still alive, and we can watch them, and we can hear those stories, though millions of years have passed since then. So storytelling is something that humankind cannot live without. Everyone has a story to tell, and everyone has a unique way of telling a story. And while using digital tools, we can make the story even more alive, even more touching. Now, so digital story or narratives, the basic text of this digital story, as you know, that's a 2 to 4 minute digital video clip, as most of you have already successfully created your digital videos. Most often, digital stories are told in first person narrative and sometimes recorded with your own voice, illustrated mostly with still images and with an optical music track to add emotional tone, or background music, as we have called it throughout our workshop. So if you have visited our Facebook page, here you can see that our cover page asks you the question, what is your story? So here to this workshop, we invite everyone, educators and students, everyone involved in digital storytelling are people who have stories to tell. So everyone has a story to tell, and thinking of three life-changing events that happened to you and putting it into emotion and making it a small video with a narrative and background music. That's not a really easy task to do. As you see, for each story, we are spending a whole month to prepare it from the scratch and then until we present it. And there are some stories that are your best stories. And I would like you to take a look at the previous topics and let's analyze what stories were the best to you, what stories were touching for you, and what stories really um, told the thoughts you were keeping within yourself. And now, using all these experiences, how can we make our students tell stories in the classroom using English language? And how can we help them create stories? And how can we help them to find their own voice when telling the narrative? These are the important points to consider when addressing digital storytelling in your classroom. Now, digital storytelling is important, as we have said that. Digital storytelling is important because it helps develop visual and multimedia literacy, as, as it provides students with a competitive and compelling voice. And also, digital storytelling is one of the effective ways of making your students write. It also encourages self-directed, self-motivated learning experiences, giving students more confidence and more freedom when learning. Well, digital storytelling teaches technology, information, and visual literacy, which are important 21st century skills. Also, it has a capacity to engage students in their learning. Learning takes place at the upper level of Bloom's taxonomy. As most of our participants are teachers, Bloom's taxonomy is no stranger to you. So if you would like to reach upper levels of this taxonomy, digital storytelling is the tool that you should choose in your classrooms. Also, it addresses Brookman technology learning targets and Ohio technology standards as well as Common Core. I have collected information about these um, three important terms in education, and I will be later sharing sharing with you the information regarding this. And last but not least, digital storytelling encourages cross-cultural and cross-curricular learning. And as we know that cross-cultural and cross-curricular learning is the target, is our main goal in this global world. And finally, digital stories are fun. So your students will have really happy time doing homework if you engage them in storytelling. So as we conclude, digital storytelling process follows certain steps, and these steps became familiar to many of you as we have been following them throughout our workshops. So every month, and in the first place, we start writing, right? We brainstorm ideas, we mind map the ideas we have, and we gather facts, we research, and then we write. We write the narration, which will later become a narrative. So after we have our narration and after we have all these images and music and videos in mind, next stage to do is storyboarding. And storyboarding can have many forms. It can be as simple as writing on a piece of paper. It can be done using technology, using Microsoft Word or other storyboarding software programs, as we have shared with you. Locating resources or researching is one of the um, next stage process of digital storytelling. And after that, all you have to do is to create and share, publish your story. Well, I can congratulate many of you for following through these processes and successfully creating and sharing and publishing your stories. But some of you have still some work to do. So I'm sure that today's information will be very helpful for you if you are in the midway of finishing up your next story. Now, we have talked about biographies when we had the topic of women power, when we talked about the issues young women are facing in our local communities. We have mostly used biography as a genre to create stories. So you have interviewed, you have found people who made changes possible in their local communities, and then using their biographies you have created digital stories. I really recommend you to watch the stories again in order to go through all this process and review what kind of job we have done with you. So again, you can use biographies as a tool in your classrooms, and your students can transform their written biographies into compelling digital documentaries that shows how the person's background influenced what they believed and how they act, as well as the personal qualities that help this person succeed. And I will be sending you this example. I will be copying the link and sending you in the chat message. So after the workshop, I highly recommend you to open up this story and watch this story. And then please share your thoughts and your reflections on this story in our Telegram group. Well, autobiographies. When telling your own story as an author, you will become an autobiography teller. Also, your students can use digital storytelling approach to share stories surrounding important events in their lives. Writing about the events in a narrative forms helps students build skills in showing rather than telling a story and improving their writing ability. And one of successful examples of autobiographical stories can be found in the following link. I will again share this link with the title autobiography. Please make sure that you watch all of this and you share your views on the stories with us. And there are some docudramas. So this is one of the genres of digital storytelling. And developing docudramas requires not only extensive research, but asks students to place themselves in a distant time or take on the role and view of a person with very different life experiences than their own, helping to make history come alive. One of the successful docudramas that we have created throughout our workshop is Miss Zabuna's story featuring Hurmatoy. And that was a real docudrama because our participant tried her to put herself in the very shoes of the author, and I think the story was really successful. So you can follow the link and watch the story in order to get some idea of what docudramas are. And there can be science concepts. So my students, for example, enjoy watching science videos through digital stories. It can make the concept easier. We often think of science in terms of cold, hard facts. While science does indeed deal with large amounts of data and information, transforming a scientific process into a story helps connect the process to the tangible realms of our own lives, which will make them more um, understandable or simpler for our students. So there is an example from eighth grade science. Um, eighth grade science, so that's a digital storytelling example featuring science. I have made it myself. I will be sharing with you the story on the following link. I'm sending this on the chat. After the workshop, I will make sure that you receive all these links and you will have time to watch all of this. And after you watch the example stories, please reflect on them. Please share your views with us. And of course, make notes on what you have learned from the stories and what genres and what types of storytelling were used in these stories. Okay. Now, news broadcast, that's one of the most common digital storytelling types that you can come across on the internet. Even if they don't watch the news, students are aware of the structure of news program. So after students have learned about science concept or culture and social studies, as a teacher, you can ask them to create a news broadcast that shares related events and stories. Also, you can have them create a public service announcement on any issue that they feel that is relevant. And there are sometimes writing tasks done in a boring way in English classroom, just like book reports. And you can transform the boring book report assignment with the help of digital storytelling. So your students can create book trailers to showcase the novel or book they have read. That can be more fun and engaging. Storyboarding. So most of you have gone through the storyboarding process very successfully. Some of you shared with us your handwritten storyboarding with your drawings. Some of you have done it in Microsoft Word, and I have shown you some examples of successful storyboards too. So summarizing all the points made, storyboard is a basic sketch of your digital story. So this is the method you plan out your story. So when planning, you will be paying attention to time and interaction and of course into the pace. So you will be putting together images, scripts, transitions, and soundtracks. Each line takes about 10 seconds to read, and 3-4 seconds is ideal length for images to appear. So all the things that will appear in your digital story will be put into their own places in appropriate pace and timing in storyboarding. And then you will be locating your resources. I told you that you have to be very careful about copyright issues when using images and music and other stuff from the internet. There's an example in one of our workshops when I was developing a presentation, I have used an image that was offered as a copyright, but as it happens, that image had an author, and I was asked to delete all these workshop videos from the YouTube. So this kind of things can happen. If you would like to make your digital story honestly yours, so if you'd like to own the rights for this digital story, then you will have to make sure that you will be using images and music that are copyright free. I have shared with you most of the um, sources that offer images, music, background music as copyright free items. And here are some more examples of websites where you can download copyright free images and music. So I will be taking a screenshot of this and I will share it with you on the chat so that you will have it hand-on when you are developing your digital story next time. Now, talking about how to download this copyright-free images, when Googling any image or music, choose, you can narrow your choices or results by the followings. And at the end, you can see usage rights. Here, you should make sure that you select free to use or share, and then you search the photos. Otherwise, even if there is no author mentioned, a photo or music you have downloaded can be tied to copyright, and then later it will cause issues in your publishing or sharing process. Okay, soundtrack and narration. So we have talked lots about soundtracks. We have shared some of the websites where you can download white music or background music. So why do we need soundtrack and the background of a narration? Of course, to create emotions. It will make your digital story, um, let's see, more touching, and it will make your digital story or narration flow well. So Audacity installed on all computers in labs. All laptops have built-in microphones, or you can use microphones that are available to you. We have talked about the types of microphones, types of microphones that you can use when recording your narration. If you need further information, um, you can go through our YouTube channel and of course watch that video on the microphones on narration recording. So recording narration, the name of the workshop was. Now, creation process can be done in many software programs. I have provided you with the list of them during our workshops, but most of the time we have been working with video software. It was easy to use and it had all the features necessary for free. So you can choose any model, you can use Microsoft Movie Maker. So any tool that you have in your computer will work fine for the purposes of digital storytelling. And here again, I will be sharing with you one more time a list of updated tools. So I will not include here the tools or software programs that I have already shared with you. So here are some new ones that I have come across, and I really recommend you to go through all of them and see which ones works best for you, which ones you wouldn't prefer to use. And after you have done some research, please share your opinions on our Telegram group so that it will be a direction or a guide for our new participants. So after everything is done, time to showcase your story. So this is the most exciting moment probably. You will be sharing your story, you will be getting reviews, you will be getting reflections, you will be getting likes and comments, and well, more than that, you will be feeling very light because you really put into words and images the story that was living within you, and now it's a part of global community. Now you can teach your experience to someone, you can share your emotions with someone, and you can really make your voice heard. This is the beauty of digital storytelling. Well, that was the summary session, and after that, following this session, we will have a discussion in our group. We will be discussing types and genres of digital stories, and during the discussions, I would like you to take a look at this question. What topic would you like us to choose next? So probably the end of the year is approaching and the next topic will be our last throughout this workshop. So I would like to ask you to choose a direction, to choose a topic for us. So what topic works best for you? What kind of digital story would you like to create? Or what genre of the story would you like us to choose for the coming project? And we will be teaching you the aspects of that story. So I will be waiting for your suggestions. Thank you very much for being with us and have a nice weekend ahead. If you have further questions, if you'd like to discuss them, I will be leaving the Zoom open so you can ask your questions. I will be more than happy to answer to your questions.